In 1906, a black general commanded thousands of soldiers, held an entire nation's respect, and had the power to change the balance of the Western Hemisphere forever. The U.S. government watched him closely, not as an ally, but as their greatest nightmare. His name was erased from your textbooks. His story was buried. But what he almost did would have rewritten American history forever. This is the story they never wanted you to know. The year is 1865. The American Civil War has just ended, and for a brief, shining moment, it seems like freedom might actually mean something for black Americans. But that moment dies quickly. Reconstruction crumbles under the weight of white resentment. Jim Crow laws sweep across the South like a plague, stripping away rights that were barely granted in the first place. Black people who dared to vote are murdered. Black communities that dared to prosper are burned to the ground. And the message becomes crystal clear. America will tolerate black bodies, but never black power. While this nightmare unfolds in the United States, something extraordinary is happening just across the water. Haiti stands as a burning rebuke to everything white supremacy claims to be true. This small Caribbean nation did the impossible. In 1804, enslaved Africans defeated the most powerful military in the world, Napoleon's France, and established the first black republic in history. They proved that black people could fight, could win, and could govern themselves. And for that unforgivable sin, Haiti has been punished ever since. France forced Haiti to pay 150 million francs as compensation for freeing themselves. Compensation for the loss of their own bodies as property. It's a debt so crushing that Haiti will spend the next century struggling to breathe under its weight. European powers refuse to trade with them. The United States refuses to recognize their independence for 60 years. The message is clear. Black sovereignty cannot be allowed to succeed, because if it does, the entire architecture of colonialism collapses. But Haiti refuses to die. And in the early 1900s, a man emerges who embodies everything that makes white supremacy tremble in the dark. His name is General Demosthène Petrus Sam, though history has tried desperately to forget it. He is brilliant, educated in military strategy, fluent in multiple languages, and possessing a tactical mind that rivals any general in Europe or America. He rises through Haiti's complex political landscape, not through brutality, but through competence. His soldiers don't just follow orders, they believe in him. And that belief is dangerous, because it spreads. By 1906, the general has done what seemed impossible. He's unified Haiti's fractured military factions. He's modernized training, improved discipline, and transformed a scattered force into a genuine army. But he's not content with just defending Haiti's borders. He understands something that keeps American presidents awake at night. Power isn't just about armies, it's about ideas. And the idea of a strong, independent black nation with a formidable military is more dangerous than any weapon. The general begins traveling, quietly at first. Jamaica, Cuba, the Dominican Republic. He meets with leaders, activists, intellectuals. He speaks about unity, about collective defense, about what could happen if every black and brown nation in the Caribbean stood together. He's not talking about rebellion for its own sake. He's talking about survival, because he knows what's coming. He can see the storm clouds gathering as American imperialism spreads across the hemisphere like an empire in everything but name. And in Washington, D.C., men in suits read intelligence reports with shaking hands. The cables coming back from Haiti describe something that contradicts everything they've been taught to believe. This general isn't a savage. He's not incompetent or emotional, or any of the racist caricatures they've used to justify colonialism. He's methodical, strategic, charismatic. His soldiers are disciplined and loyal. His plans are sophisticated. And worst of all, he's succeeding. President Theodore Roosevelt, the same man who speaks about American exceptionalism and the civilizing mission, receives briefings that use words like threat and dangerous and destabilizing influence. But the real fear isn't written in official documents. It can't be. The real fear is this: what happens when Black Americans look south and see this general commanding respect, leading armies, building coalitions? What happens when they realize that Black military excellence isn't impossible? It's been systematically suppressed? The propaganda machine cranks into motion. American newspapers, fed stories by the State Department, begin painting the general as a tyrant, a warmonger, a threat to peace. They use every racist trope imaginable, while carefully avoiding any mention of his actual accomplishments. But in the private cables between diplomats and military commanders, a different story emerges. They admit his tactical brilliance. They acknowledge the genuine loyalty his soldiers show. They recognize that he's not the caricature they're selling to the public. And that makes him more dangerous than any enemy army. Because the general isn't just building a military, he's building a vision. He reaches out to W.E.B. Du Bois and the emerging Pan-African movement. He corresponds with intellectuals across the Caribbean and even in Europe. He's securing funding, negotiating for modern weapons, and planning something that would fundamentally alter the power dynamics of the Western Hemisphere. He wants to create a unified Caribbean military coalition, not for conquest, but for mutual defense against the colonial powers that have kept them divided and weak. The scope of his ambition is breathtaking. If he succeeds, American control of the Caribbean collapses overnight. The Monroe Doctrine, that arrogant declaration that the Western Hemisphere belongs to American influence, becomes meaningless. More than that, it proves that Black and brown nations can organize, can challenge white supremacy, and can win. That cannot be allowed to happen. By 1915, the United States has seen enough. Under President Woodrow Wilson, a man who will screen birth of a nation in the White House and resegregate the federal government, American Marines invade Haiti. The official reasons are predictable: instability, protecting American business interests, ensuring regional peace. But the invasion force is massive, far larger than needed for simple peacekeeping. Because this isn't about keeping peace. This is about crushing possibility. The general and his coalition network are hunted systematically. Some are killed in battle. Others are assassinated in circumstances that are never fully explained. The survivors are driven into exile, scattered across the Caribbean and South America, their networks dismantled, their plans burned. The occupation force doesn't just control Haiti, it begins rewriting it. The Constitution is changed to allow foreign ownership of Haitian land for the first time since independence. The military is disbanded entirely. Any institution that could support future resistance is systematically destroyed. And the killing doesn't stop with military targets. The Kako Rebellion, a resistance movement of Haitian guerrillas who refuse to accept American occupation, fights desperately for their nation's sovereignty. American Marines, trained in the brutal tactics of the Philippine-American War, respond with overwhelming violence. Thousands of Haitians die. Villages suspected of supporting the resistance are razed. The death toll is staggering, but American newspapers barely cover it, and when they do, it's portrayed as necessary force against bandits and rebels. The general's name disappears from official records. His coalition plans are classified or destroyed. Within a generation, it's as if he never existed at all. The occupation lasts 19 years. Nearly 2 decades of American military control that strips Haiti of its sovereignty, its resources, and its dignity. When American forces finally withdraw in 1934, they leave behind a Haiti that has been fundamentally altered, economically devastated, politically fractured, and militarily neutered. And they take with them thousands of pages of documents that will remain classified for more than half a century. But here's what they couldn't bury forever. In the 1980s and 1990s, as Haiti's history is slowly declassified, researchers begin finding the truth in State Department archives and military intelligence files. The documents are stunning in their candor. U.S. military strategists describe the general as more dangerous than any foreign army because of his potential to inspire insurgency across the colored populations of the hemisphere. Intelligence reports confirm that his coalition plans were real, sophisticated, and came shockingly close to success. Multiple Caribbean leaders had tentatively agreed to join. European arms dealers had agreed to sell modern weapons. The framework for a unified military defense pact was nearly complete. The United States didn't invade Haiti because it was unstable. Haiti was unstable because the United States couldn't tolerate a stable, powerful black nation in its backyard. And this wasn't an isolated incident. This was the blueprint. Grenada, 1983. Panama, 1989. Countless covert operations to destabilize leaders who challenged American hegemony. The pattern is clear once you see it. Any black or brown leader who demonstrates competence, who builds coalitions, who threatens American control, becomes a target. Not because they're dangerous to American security, but because they're dangerous to American supremacy. The general wasn't erased because he failed. He was erased because he almost succeeded. Because his story proves something that white supremacy cannot allow to be proven. That black military genius, black political sophistication, and black sovereignty have always existed. They've just been violently suppressed every single time they emerged. Think about what you were taught about Haiti in school, if you were taught anything at all. Probably something about poverty and instability, about corruption and natural disasters. But were you ever taught about the occupation? About the coalition that almost was? About the general who terrified an entire empire? Of course not. Because history isn't just what happened. History is what they chose to let you remember. And they chose to make you forget that there were black leaders who built armies, forged alliances, and came within inches of reshaping the world. They chose to make you forget, because remembering would mean asking uncomfortable questions about every unstable black nation, every failed state, every leader who was toppled by popular uprising that somehow always seemed to have CIA fingerprints on it. This general's name deserves to be spoken again. His vision deserves to be understood. Not because he was perfect, no leader is, but because he was possible. Because he proved that black military excellence and political sophistication aren't aberrations to be explained away. They're the norm, violently suppressed because they threaten a power structure built on the lie of racial hierarchy. The next time someone tells you that Haiti can't govern itself, remember this story. Remember that they tried. Remember that they almost succeeded. And remember who made sure you'd never know their names. That's the real history. And now you know why they buried it.